Black is super solid here. It's very hard to get an edge in this line with white. I don't think I lost, other than that Blitz game, ever with this queen exchange on d4. I had to draw easily against Alexander Ivanov in the U.S. Championship. And I know I did lose once. I mentioned the game against Volokitin. Okay. So, but that was really... Yeah, maybe he outplayed me in the opening. That was a critical line. Bishop h4, bishop g3, Scheveningen. That's the plan, man. That's the plan you're supposed to do. To try to play bishop h4, bishop g3, and put pressure on the d6 pawn. But this is a creative idea, to play it like a fianchetto setup. Okay, well, even if you double my pawns, I don't really care. So, at some point I'm going to start some counterplay on the queen side. Although you have the similar ideas, you see the point, it's not the same with the bishop on f4, because I can always play e5, you know, and the point of bishop g3 is that it's like not assailable on g3. So I have to play e5. It's okay. And you go back, but I don't know. Maybe this is something for white. Yeah. Do I have any tricks here? I have some tricks. Why not knight g4, for example? I don't want to trade, you know, I don't want you to take my knight with your bishop. You know, that's not good for me. So I think, so our mistake is playing a Scheveningen type of pawn structure against Scheveningen. I think that's what you didn't want to normally do. How come you moved to Hungary? Well, there's a long history of chess here. It was chess-related decision. It's like a place to base yourself. If you want to play chess in Europe, I think that Hungary is a very good place to settle down because there's a lot of chess. The cost of living is one of the less expensive places in Europe, and if there is such a thing. And not so much as it used to be, but I think that honestly, if you settle in Eastern Europe, the best places are like Budapest and Prague would be my choice. So, you know, it's still, for a chess player who's not making a lot of money, which I wasn't, I mean, at that time, it was a long time ago, it was 12 years ago. h4, okay, h6. So, then I just kind of got stuck here, but I like it. But it's a culture, it's a different culture. It's hard to live in a strange place for 12 years. In your over-the-board game, you were allowed bishop takes f6. Well, you had a lot of chances to play bishop takes f6. You had this in the over-the-board game? Wow. That's amazing. But, you know, I mean, you mean bishop takes f6? Yeah. No, I mean, this is a very, very good avoidance of a bad minor piece situation for me. You know, I don't want that, man. Here, black's okay. But if I let you take on f6... with this structure, it's horrible for black, definitely. So black should be fine here. I'm a little backward on the file, but his bishop is bad, so it's like definitely compensation for that, the backward file. I think that we both can improve on this. Do I speak Hungarian? Yeah, igen. Beszél magyarul. Beszélem magyarul. Csak nem nagyon jó. I have a huge vocabulary and my grammar is non-existent. My, you know, I kind of sound like, to them I sound like I'm Chinese or something. I don't know. But I understand. That's the important thing. I understand most what people are saying. Like I'm at a poker game and everyone's speaking just Hungarian. I can understand almost everything. But I don't actually speak very well. So, one of the chess students I have is Hungarian, he said. Uh-huh. Yeah, well, Hungarians are very fond of chess, and that's one of the reasons why I moved here, because it's so strongly, loved in this culture here. Okay, bishop f3. Bad bishop, man, bad bishop. So we're going to try to torture white, like long term here. Hopefully, we have some kind of compensation. I don't know, I don't want to say because Cheveningen's listening to the stream, or I assume he is. I don't want to tell him what my ideas are, I've been playing the black side of the Marazzi bind for years. And, this idea of knight g4, though, it's borrowing from a lot of things. It's sort of Roy Lopez idea, Cheveningen. It's oftentimes Smyslov type of plan in the Roy Lopez with white is to play bishop f6 and trade off for the d5 square. So oftentimes black plays like knight on f6 somewhere away to avoid that exchange. Knight h5, knight h7, knight g4, knight d8, whatever, to avoid the Smyslov, Roy Lopez type of stuff. Okay, now Smyslov, talking about Smyslov. I don't know. Cheveningen is putting his pawns on white squares. I have a kind of flexible queen side. I could go either way with my queen side. Come on, master. War of ideas. That sounds familiar. Come on, master. This reminds me of an old friend of mine. So, I have some counterplay on the queen side. b3 is a weird move. A little bit. I guess if I don't do anything, he could set up a Marazzi. Yeah, I agree. b5, b3 is a bit weird. I'm just not sure exactly what I should do. If I play a5, he can lock the structure. If I don't play a5, slowly he'll try to play like c4 or something. I don't know. It's a little tricky for me. I have to babysit this d6 pawn all the time in this position, which is very annoying. To have to constantly babysit this pawn. Obviously, black would like to have all of his pawns on dark squares, theoretically. But the game is much more complicated than that. I need a way to try to win the game, for example. And just putting my pawns on dark squares is not going to win the game. So, g5, we can open another front. This is, I think, really what we should be talking about. Opening fronts for my pieces. What if I play b5? What happens? It's the kind of normal Sicilian move, but it's on the wrong color complex at the moment. You could play a5 as well. Obviously, I'm threatening to win a pawn with b4, or threaten to win a pawn. When he has to play the horrible knight d5, let me have a good ending. So, I mean, this is just a kind of standard move. The other thing I can do is on the king side to play g5 at some point. And now, there's a lot of weak points in white's position. A lot of weak points in white's position. But it's kind of double-edged to taking on b4. He could slowly take over the a file. Not so easy, though. Again, I have to guard this silly d6 pawn, which is really annoying. At some point, g5, probably a good thing. Let's be practical. And if rook a3, I think I'm just setting myself up for trouble. Rook a1 doesn't really achieve anything. I mean, rook a3, maybe king b2. Then again, I'm in trouble. Just rook d3, he just sort of shuts everything down. If I try to do rook a3, I think I'm only, and I'm worried about my pawns, d6, b5. This is, I was second guessing myself when I played b5, because obviously this b4 fixes my pawn on b5. Black is trying for something here. I think my king is safer than his, for one thing. His king looks a little exposed on the A and the B files, potentially. Maybe not a big deal with no queens on the board and 2 sets of minor pieces gone. But he has to be a little careful. My king is pretty safe. Anyway, everybody, welcome. Fluorescent green people on Twitch, I can't read your names. I really tried, but I've got to get a new, or I've got to get a prescription for glasses. It's sack on c3. Yeah, these things are definitely in the wind. Sure. I mean, I'd love to sack an exchange on c3. To try to get something concrete, though. Now he goes to h1. Why didn't I think he could really do this? Yeah, I think there's a problem with that. But maybe not. I mean, I have a check. First of all, g4. Could actually, you know, as my pawn's maybe weaker on g4. Let's try to get something. I thought maybe just taking the h file, but now he has to play knight b1. No, king b2. Sorry. His time's not running. Am I lagging? What do you mean good game? What are you talking about, dude? Don't resign. Your rook's defended. Don't be a pessimist. He resigned. Oh no. Dude, you resigned for no reason. Everything's protected. You had everything under control. Alright, he was just being generous. Thanks, Cheveningen, but not necessary. Oh no. Looks like our other challenger left. Alright, we'll do Z-chess. Anyway, just think of it this way. You let someone else, you know, play a game that we wouldn't have had time. You were being a nice guy. I think you have good chances to draw there. So Z-chess is white. Wow, yeah, I mean, don't worry, you're in good company. A lot of strong players have resigned in not losing positions. King's Indian. The King's Indian is our first love. But I haven't been real active theoretically lately, so I'm not too booked up. We'll see what's up here. I'm a major believer in playing sidelines. Bishop e3 is a very rare move. I think that's called a Larson variation. Huh. Yeah. I haven't played against this in a long time. I don't know if anyone ever played it against me in a tournament game. But it makes sense. Bishop e3. I guess you could play c5 with black. This is Blitz. I don't think knight g4 is supposed to be the best. But I can't remember. I guess I'm supposed to just play e5. Well, that's like a good exchange variation for white, though. Actually, I can't recall what the line is for black. h6 or something? What am I supposed to do? h6, h3. That's like a Makaganat variation where I played h6 without any reason. That can't be good. Knight g4 looks wrong. Maybe not, though. This is actually very similar to the Peertz defense. The 150 attack or whatever. But the inclusion of c4 and castles should somehow favor black, I would think. And if you guys know in the Peertz defense, this line with the pawn on c2, you know, in this same position for white and black, but this is a very dangerous variation. So this is a mistake. You're not supposed to give me your dark squared bishop. I think bishop g5 is mandatory there. Now queen e3, and can I do anything really dynamic here, like sack a pawn with c5? It looks interesting, but I think it may be a little over the top. Maybe I shouldn't give you a pawn. I mean, I have a good position without sacking anything like violent